a tan color to it versus the pure white look to the all-purpose flour. Other than that, it feels exactly like an all-purpose flour. So what we'll do first is put all the dry ingredients in this bowl. So I already have 2 cups, and you'll get, I should say, you'll get the recipes after class in the follow-up email. So I'll send you both recipes. Okay. So I've got the 2 cups in here already. This does require, and a lot of biscuit recipes require a lot of baking powder. I had to go out this morning to get more because I ran out. I thought I had tons, but I've been making so many biscuits. This is 4 teaspoons of baking powder. That's quite a bit. That's over a tablespoon. That's a tablespoon and an extra teaspoon. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And this one is not the one with, I did not, that was for the other one. I need to make one for this one. That was for the other one. Oh, here it is. I think, no, this is sugar. Let me make sure I'm getting these. You know what I think I did? I think I put cinnamon in the wrong dry ingredients. So this is going to have a little cinnamon kick to it. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Otherwise, everything else is the same. It just has some cinnamon in the buttermilk cheese biscuit. I don't know, but we'll give it a try. I've always liked cinnamon, so we'll see if I like it with cheese. And that was supposed to, I'll make sure to add it to the next one when I demonstrate the next one. Okay, so we're going to whisk those up. Whisk. I always like to whisk to keep things nice and light, even with dry ingredients. Seems to help keep things lighter. And then we're going to add the butter and cheese and the milk. So first we'll do the butter and cheese. You want to go kind of driest to wettest ingredients. And I still have them in the fridge because one key thing with biscuits or scones in particular is to keep everything very cold as much as possible. In fact, even putting things in the freezer is not a bad idea, particularly the butter. I don't know about the cheese if you need to do that, and not the milk, obviously, but the butter is a nice thing to put in the freezer. And I'm using a glass bowl today so you can see things a little better, but using a metal bowl can help keep things even colder when you're mixing your ingredient. So that's a nice idea as well. And you could even put, you know, especially in the summer, you could put a thing of ice or an ice bag underneath your bowl to keep things nice and cold, because it makes a huge difference on how your biscuits and scones rise and give it that layered look. Almost like a, not a croissant, but you know how they have those layered, it's called lamination when you do a croissant, but in this case, it's just more of a layer. So I'm gonna get my cold ingredients here. Okay, so I'm gonna put the butter in first. And what I'm going to do with the butter, I am going to use a pastry cutter as well. I grated my butter. I'll show you how I do that with the next biscuit. It's all grated, and I'm still going to use my pastry blender here just to get it even smaller. You really want a pea-sized butter. The cheese, I didn't bother using the pastry cutter. I'm not even sure if it would really do well with a pastry cutter. It might, but there's no need to. I just kept it in a it's grated form, and it worked out just fine. So that's that. It doesn't take long when you grate it, which is nice because you want to get these into the oven as soon as possible to keep them that cold into the heat, so the heat kind of helps it expand quickly. That's the whole idea. And now we'll do the cheese. This is a 3/4 cup of cheese. That was only a 1/4 cup of butter, not too much. The cheese helps fill in where you need a little more fat, maybe you could say, with a biscuit. So we're going to do that, and then I'm just going to mix it up, coat it all with the flour here before I add the buttermilk. Okay, now I'm going to get a cup of buttermilk. I have my cup ready. Got my buttermilk out of the fridge. I'm going to shake it up a little bit, make sure it's shut. Buttermilk, I don't know, it seems like it settles a little bit, so I do kind of just shake it up a little bit before I use it. And get to the cup. Put this back in the fridge. And then we'll just mix it in. I'm going to get a different spoon. I'm going to get my whisk, I just lost the name of it. It's a type of whisk, the dough whisk. There we go. For mixing, because that keeps things, again, not overworked, keeps it lighter. And you don't want to overwork your dough because that just gives it a denser, heavier texture, chewier texture. So I put that in the center there. And we're just gonna stir it up. The dough whisk, I do notice a difference using this, because if you have to use a spoon, you keep having to dig in there, and really it takes a lot more work to mix everything together. The dough whisk just does a really nice job of incorporating the ingredients and grabbing that flour on the very bottom without overworking the dough. So you can see it's already basically mixed. You don't want to do it too much. I kind of poke in the hole there to get out the stuff. So that's a little wetter than everything else, and I'll just mix it a little bit. And then I'll start making the biscuits. See how easy this is? That's all it was. You could, now when you do a recipe like this, more of a savory recipe, you know, you could do Italian herbs. Chives is a popular ingredient to include in a savory biscuit. You know, rosemary, any herb you like that you like with cheese really would work really well with this. Or if you don't like cheese, you could just do this with savory spices. All right, I'm going to put that aside because I'm going to use that again. So now I'm going to show you how I fold the biscuits. I don't think they have the directions in particular with this recipe, but I'm going to show you how I like to make, and again, this is with scones too. I know a lot of you are interested in scones. You can think of this as almost just like making a scone. The difference between biscuits and scones in general is an egg. That's just about it. Maybe some other, maybe use a heavy cream instead, or the scones are a sweeter and they product, baked good, and they have like a different fat, like an egg or a heavy cream or something. But the process is pretty much the same. So I'm going to put out a thin layer of flour. I'm just using all-purpose flour when I do any kneading or need a dusting. I just stick with all-purpose. I feel like it works the best. And you really just kind of pour this out here. And there'll be some extra flour here, not incorporated yet, and that's okay because I'll get to it. So it's kind of a shaggy dough, really. And I'm gonna get my bench scraper right here. I'm gonna get a nice shape, helps it bring it together more easily. I'm gonna push down. And if it's too sticky on the top, you can just get a little flour, sprinkle it on top. And then I'm going to fold it. And you can fold 2 times, 4 times, 6 times, 8 times. I kind of like the process, so I'll go for a while folding. Fold, turn it. I just turn it like a quarter, then fold again, flatten it down, turn it, fold again, flatten it down a little bit, turn it. And notice I'm just pushing. I'm not kneading it. I'm not working it.